Hey guys, Taco Mage here, bringing you another Mekanism V9 Spotlight. Today we're going to be looking at the new thermal evaporation towers. These are basically the same as the old solar evaporation towers, although there have been some changes to them which I think bear having their own video, but it'll be a pretty quick one I think. But there are some new things, and I thought it might be good to go over how to heat these new multi-blocks, what some good setups are, and things like that. But to start, it's important to notice that the environment, or the biome that the blocks are built in, or the tower is built in, does matter what the resting temperature is. In this case, this is just in regular ocean. It's at 319, about 320 Kelvin. If we look over this one, I basically used random things to paint the blocks underneath this tower to desert, and if you take a look in there, you'll see it's close to 330 Kelvin. So the resting temperature is biome dependent, and that has some small effect on how they operate when actually heated. So now we've taken a look at the resting state, let's take a look at two that have been set up in the traditional manner, that is, as solar evaporation towers. Now, the important thing to notice here is that they still have this kind of, I guess, crenellation that they did prior to this upgrade, and that if you're going to build them without the solar towers, you do need to make them cuboidal, but if you build them with the solar towers, you still need these two little blocks on every side like that. So that's kind of important to notice that that design has not changed. Now, if we take a look at these have both been heating up for a while. You'll notice that they stop at about 2000 kilokelvin, which is about halfway across, and they produce about 45 millibuckets per tick, and they're actually both very close. Again, 2000 kilokelvin, or 2 kilokelvin, I'm sorry, and 45 millibuckets per tick. But if you notice, this one is actually producing about 0.2 millibuckets per tick less than this one. And that's actually the effect of the biome, which was something that didn't used to happen because these used to heat all the way up to maximum temperature. That's not the case anymore. They actually stop at that about halfway mark. It's actually closer to 60%, I believe. And so, yeah, there is a very slight difference. The other difference is that the desert biome one will actually heat up slightly faster. It's not as pronounced as it used to be. Desert biomes no longer heat up at like 2 or 3 times the rate as normal ones, but they do heat up a little bit faster. But the real difference you're going to see in a normal Minecraft game is that in a desert biome you don't have rain, whereas pretty much any other biome you're going to get rain, and it's going to make this thing dump heat very, very quickly. When it rains, I notice that you'll drop 2 kilokelvin in about 5 minutes, and it'll go back down to its resting state. So that is pretty important, that if you're playing in a normal Minecraft world and you're going to be using the solar generators, you definitely want to stick to desert biomes. But there are a lot more options to heat these things, so let's go and take a look at that. The first option is pretty much your most basic. You just throw down a full fuel wood heater, run some thermodynamic conductor inside, and all of these are actually going to be set up on the basic thermodynamic connector. That's actually all you're going to need to run a thermal evaporation tower, is just basic thermodynamic conductor. Any more conductor than that is actually overkill. So yeah, so one fuel wood heater. In this case, I've just got it on a hopper with fuel going endlessly, and that heats up to just shy of 2.7 kilokelvin, producing 53 millibuckets per tick. Again, this is only the 4 block high variant. We will cover some taller ones further down the line, of course. So yeah, so with just one fuel wood heater, you're not going to get this one all the way to maximum production, but you're going to get it close. Now, if we come over here, I set this one up with 2 fuel heaters, and important to the setup, you'll notice that I've just put them back to back. Any heat source block put next to another heat source block will actually transfer heat through that block. However, it's not as efficient as if I just run a cable around the side, but it works good enough to get this thermal evaporation tower all the way up to full. That's just 3.3 kilokelvin. That's as hot as you can get these days, with 66.67 millibuckets per tick. So yes, 2 fuel wood heaters are plenty to keep one of these blocks at full temperature for as long as you have fuel. But you might be thinking, well, what if we combine that with the solar setup? Because the solar setup got you about halfway there. What happens if we throw a fuel wood heater, again with as much fuel as you can want, on this tower? Well, turns out that is also plenty to get this thing maxed out as long as the weather stays clear. So again, you're going to want to lean on your desert. But of course, we also know that there are the new resistive heaters. So how much RF per tick are we looking at to get one of these set up to full Well, as it turns out, it's actually about 450 RF per tick. And we'll cycle through the other units here just so you can see them. So it's 112.5 EU per tick, 45 Minecraft joules per tick, and 1.12 kilojoules, which are the Mekanism native energy per tick. So that's what's needed in order to bring one of these up to maximum temperature. And it should be noted that this actually takes a while at all of these setups to get up to this max temperature, with the exception of this guy here, which actually heats up very, very quickly, because that's a lot more heat than you actually need. But in this case, this is about what you need. You might be able to go like 10 RF less, but I know that if you go down to 400, it's not enough. So yeah, that's what you're going to need, and it'll take a while. It'll take probably about a half hour, I think it was. And again, let's say you want to throw on solar generators anyway, then you're only going to need about 125 RF per tick, and 31.25 EU per tick, 12.5 Minecraft joules per tick, and 312.5 Mekanism joules per tick. So yeah, you can do a little bit of energy saving if you just throw the advanced solar generators on there, but you're probably going to be a little cheaper going about it this way. And that's your basic ways to get these things heated up. But there is one more, and it's broken. And it'll probably be patched, but I decided to bring it up anyway, because it is probably going to be in for 1 or 2 patches before they get around to it or notice that it's wrong. But now we come to this guy. And it's a block that I badmouthed in my first spotlight, and that would be our good old friend, the heat generator. So if you take a heat generator and just plug it in thermodynamic conductor, again, it comes out the bottom and only the bottom. Throw a lav on it, so you can probably do it for 5 out of the 6 sides. I've actually got this one 4 out of the 6 sides. But as you can see, it is absolutely enough to heat this guy all the way up. That is totally broken, and I don't think that's intended, but I thought I'd bring it up anyway. I'll probably be entering a bug report on that shortly. But just in case it is intended, this is tremendous. This is basically a thermal evaporation tower powered just on one source block of lava. A very, very lean setup, and definitely something I'll be doing until either it gets nerfed or maybe it'll be in forever. I don't know. But that's probably your cheapest setup right here. Yeah, as I said, that I don't think that's intended, and there'll be a bug report in. But for the time being, guys, this is the way to do it. And now let's talk about the tall ones, because I've been doing all these shorties. Like, well, yeah, but what if we want to heat up a tall one, Taco? As it turns out, it doesn't matter. The only difference that the setup does for you, the only difference, is how long it takes for the tower to heat up. Those towers, like I said, take about a half hour depending on the setup, some a little more, some a little less. This tower here with the one heat generator actually took about an hour and 15 minutes to heat up. And then there's this one that I just put the solar generators on. There's nothing plugged into it or anything. It's up near the top. This has been running for about 8 hours, and it's not actually all the way up. It ticks over. Yeah, there you see. It's ticking up very, 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 very slowly. So this one, I would imagine for full temperature, you're looking at about 12 hours. So, but the important thing here, and you probably saw it very briefly, is that the production is proportionally bigger for the bigger tower. So you're definitely going to want to be building these full size if you want to get the maximum amount of production, especially since, it doesn't take any more to heat this than it does the smaller ones, just more time. And again, this one, if we want to take a look real quick, is probably going to max out, I'd say, at about 162, 165 area. So yeah, those are the new thermal evaporation towers. Pretty exciting changes, honestly. I like the fact that we now have so many options to heat these things, and you can mix and match them as much as you want. There is one kind of broken thing, but at the same time, maybe it's not that bad. The solar evaporation towers weren't always that expensive or hard to build in the first place, and this, the simplicity is nice. But that's pretty much all I've got for the thermal evaporation towers. As I said, a little bit of changes, a little bit new mechanics, and some more options to heat them. But otherwise, they're the same old towers that we grew to love back in Mekanism 8 and before. But I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next one, which will probably be the steam boiler, so look forward to that. Later, guys!